This is Shahira, and you're listening into the Life and Style podcast by Sinar Daily. This Life and Style podcast, we talk about topics related to your lifestyle. So today, it's about parenting. I am a parent myself. I'm a mom of two. I do want to talk about the realities of parenthood, like the challenges that comes with it. Because although it is, I would say, a rewarding experience, I would not deny that it is hard. And I think being a mom is one of the hardest things I've ever done. So while it's wonderful, we are going to also explore the challenges and talk about how parents parent in today's world. And of course, I'm not alone today. I am joined by Dr. Aida Harlina. She is a consultant psychiatrist with Columbia Asia Hospital. Hi, doctor.
Hello, hi Shahira.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Thank
okay.
you for having me here.
You ready to get into this
We
topic?
shall try.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. Before anything, I just want to clarify that I'm not here to shed negativity on parenting or parenthood. I think that it's important for us to face reality and know that there are challenges that come with parenting, and it's not that easy, and it's okay to get help, and it's okay to seek knowledge and learn so that you also grow as a parent, because I'm constantly doing that myself. So, doctor, okay, so I think being a parent in today's world, there are many challenges, of course, technology
Definitely.
and so many. So maybe you can sort of share with me, as a psychiatrist, what are those challenges that, parents of today face?
Okay.
Okay.
Not an easy question there.
Okay.
Yourself, you're a parent,
Yes.
so I think you have your share of challenges.
Yes.
I think everyone have their share of challenges as parents. The list, I think, would be endless.
Yep.
If we want to talk about the list, but maybe I will share the 5 topmost challenges parents nowadays face. Yeah, I think number 1 would be the work-life balance.
Yeah.
Okay. In this more demanding time, most couples work, and as much as we want to spend good quality time with the kids, we also need to make sure that our work demands are met.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, we need to really strike a balance. I think there's never going to be a balance. There are times
Correct.
where work demand would really eat up your time with the kids, but we need to make sure that we give and take.
Okay.
Especially, we need to communicate with the spouse. So if you're busy, maybe the father would
Yeah.
spend more time with the kids.
Yeah.
So the work-life balance there. Number 2, I think, would be childcare.
Okay.
Again, most couple work nowadays. I think it's quite rare to find parents where one of the parents not working.
Not working, yeah.
So when you go to work, you would want your children to be cared safely by. Some people have babysitters, some people have live-in mates, some people have to send their children to nursery. So you really want to make sure that your children are safe when you go to work, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so many stories out there where non-accidental injuries happen
Yes.
when children are sent to nurseries.
Yeah,
Back days,
that's-
people live in extended families. In one house, there's few generations, so there's the grandparents, the parents, and the children. So when the parents go out to work, the children are at home with the parents, or your neighbor would be your aunt or your other relative who you can trust to care for your children. But now it's quite difficult. We are nucleated families.
Yeah. Okay.
You mentioned about the digital era.
Yeah. So I think, for me, I have 2 kids, one 5, one 3. I don't allow them phone as gadgets, but I do let them watch TV, and sometimes actually it's not like normal TV1, TV2, TV3. It's YouTube. Okay, I have to admit, but this is one time that I accidentally caught my 5-year-old watching. It was like a Spider-Man content, but it was inappropriate. So it's like the
in
Spider-Man were like kissing each other, and I was like, hey, what are you watching? I was like,
not
okay,
age appropriate.
yeah. So and that's the difficult part, because like the content doesn't portray that when they click on it. It's like, oh, Spider-Man, but when you watch it, it's something else.
Yeah.
So us as parents, we don't have time to like sit down and watch every single
Exactly.
thing that they're watching, and only to discover like, oh my God,
What have they been
yeah,
watching?
what have they been
And
watching?
then when it's YouTube, the minute you start watching something, they'll start
Exactly,
suggesting things, and the
correct.
kids,
Yeah.
before you know it, has been watching
Yeah, exactly.
something else.
So sometimes he does have incidents where he says not a bad word, for example, and I'm like, where'd you learn that? So I think that's another challenge that parents face today, because screen time is inevitable, lah, doctor, because you need that. It's kind of help juga.
That's
Also,
the parenting when you're not there.
Exactly, it's a babysitter or the parent when you're not able to fully give your attention, right? So I don't
It's
know.
not easy. It's not easy, and being consistent is also not easy. Say for me, for example, I'm a mom myself.
Yeah.
I allow them 2 hours per day for gadget time,
Okay.
and to be able to monitor that they only stick to these 2 hours, very difficult.
Okay, yeah,
because
yeah.
it also depends on your availability. It also depends on your energy, your mood that day.
Correct.
Because as kids, they will push their limit.
Yep.
So when they know mommy is a bit busy, distracted.
Yeah. That's when they take the opportunity, right?
Exactly. So being consistent is difficult.
It's difficult.
But we need to try, because as you mentioned, anything, they can watch anything.
Yeah. It is
In the
very,
internet.
very. It's
They're
even.
there next to you, but they are somewhere else in the
That's
world.
true. That's true, because you not all the time you can be completely present. You have like work texts coming in, or like WhatsApp is like endless. So I think that's a real challenge. I mean, modern parenting, I would say.
Yeah,
Right?
and it's not great. It's
It-
not healthy, because you're next to your child, but you're not talking to your child.
Right.
Like you're texting.
Okay.
You're sometimes you're not even doing work. You're doing. Maybe it's for you to relax. You go through the social media just
Yep.
to watch things. But hey, your child is next to you,
Yeah.
wanting your time, but you're not strong enough mentally to give that attention. Because sometimes when we are tired, we can't give the proper attention that they require.
That's true. That's true. But doctor, I want to ask, how you have how many kids?
5.
5, and are they like all teenagers now, or
Mixture. There's 2 in the primary school
Okay.
and 3 attending secondary schools.
Okay.
And it's 4 boys and a girl.
Okay. So raising the elder ones when they were little obviously is different from today. How different was it for you?
Different in a sense that now I'm older than I was before.
Okay.
So when the elder ones were much younger, I think I have more energy,
Mm-hmm.
and I was more strict with my regulations that I have. I think every parent have their own set of rules and regulations for the children, but it's important how we stick to them.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned earlier, being consistent. So back to me. When I was a lot younger, I was able to stick to what I wanted for the children. I have time to read to them, go through their schoolwork.
Right.
Now, much older, less energy, and I think work demand is a bit more.
Okay.
So I kind of have to admit that the 2 younger ones are a bit more neglected.
Okay.
And
Okay.
when this many parents do, I'm a victim myself. So when you neglect one side, you tend to try to make up. So these younger ones tend to get more
I see. More in terms of what?
physical stuff.
Okay.
Oh, candies.
Ah,
Unhealthy
okay.
food.
Is it like sort of like redemption in a way?
Redemption. Plus, I think you don't have the energy to resist them. Mommy,
Yeah,
we want
yeah,
your life.
yeah.
We've done our homework. Okay, fine.
Okay,
Rather
okay,
than
okay,
that's
okay.
not healthy.
I
Let's
see.
make
I
you
see.
something else.
Okay, but the challenges that the surrounding challenges for you when your older kids were very much younger, like in terms of childcare and all, did you have those resources that helped you, like, your surrounding support system lah?
I would say I was lucky.
Okay.
I could afford maid. Some people, they can't afford living maid. That's why they had to
Right.
send children to childcare or babysitters. So yeah, I have a live-in maid with us, but my parents and my parents-in-law, they are nearby.
Okay.
So they take turns to come over and monitor the maid,
Yeah.
do the house chores
Okay.
and looking after the kids. So
Right.
yeah, I was lucky in that sense.
Okay. Okay. I can understand. I feel like I'm quite lucky myself because my parents-in-law, my kids, they stay with their grandparents after school. So I think I'm very blessed in that sense to know that they are safe with the grandparents and that they live nearby. So anything.
But
you
there's
know.
a guilt feeling, right?
Yes, correct. That is another, I would say, challenge juga because you feel guilty because you know that they're
The
older.
elderly,
Yeah, and
they're supposed to spend their
right.
retirement time
Correct.
on their
Yeah.
own, enjoy
Yeah.
the children, enjoy the grandchildren rather than the grandchildren
Having to-
becoming a chore.
Exactly. So, but I'm very thankful, very thankful. Anyway, okay. So, doctor, let's move on to the next question. Something that I did not do with my husband before we we planned a family or before we had a baby, is that we didn't really discuss our expectations or how we want to parent, for example. So, should there be anything that couples should be aware of or talk about with themselves before they plan to become parents?
I think it's quite natural for everyone not to plan to the very detail before the thing comes. But I'm sure we do have ideas or what you have in mind when you have children. So yeah, this is something important to discuss with your spouse, especially with regards to, back to the challenges lah, financial,
Right. Yes.
because children comes with
Child
a lot of costs, education, food, whatnot.
Yeah.
So financial need to be ready. So if you're okay, already quite stable for the two of you, then how much can you spend more when the child comes? Childcare again is something you need to decide upon. So if you know that you cannot afford a live-in maid, so you need to make sure that your place is somewhere you can readily get a reliable childcare. If not your parents, a place where you can get reliable childcare. And then you need also to decide where you work
Okay.
and the education for the kids.
Right.
Kan,
Right.
macam you might work in Shah Alam, but you stay in Semenyi. So traveling time, you would be wasting time traveling, and then what good quality time you have for the kid. So if you stay in Semenyi, you need to plan where you want to send your kids to school.
That's right.
Because people are so so it's a challenge to get good education for our kids also today. So
Yeah.
I think these are some details
Okay.
you and your spouse need to
Okay.
think about, rather than, okay, we have children, then when they are 4, like, okay, where do we send them? Okay, where we stay, tak ada good education. So you would end up
Yeah.
sending them
Right.
quite far.
I think the household income also comes into play, right, doctor? Because right now, inevitably, especially in Klang Valley, you have to, it's ideally that you both work, right? A dual household income. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, unless one person can work from home.
All right.
But yeah, in the
working
end,
from
both pun.
Yeah,
kena
in
kerja
the
lah.
end, it's a dual income, whether you work from home or you work from
True.
office, right? Working from home is also another challenge with kids. That's
Exactly.
another story.
Not something I can do, to be
Yeah,
honest.
same. But yeah, how the current economy, like the cost of living, the rising cost of living, childcare is not exactly super cheap. Formula milk is expensive if you don't breastfeed, of course.
Even breastfeeding is expensive. It comes with all the
Correct. The
paraphernalia that
yeah.
comes with breastfeeding.
Yes, and also your energy. Yeah. So Do you think that the current economy influences a couple's decision to have a family, or should it influence a couple's decision to have a family, to start a family?
Well, if you go back to the oldies punya saying apa, kalau ada anak adalah rezeki. Okay, I guess they're not wrong.
Yeah.
But we have to be realistic.
Yeah.
Like you say, things are expensive now. If you don't have enough, if you're not stable enough financially, how would you be able to make sure that the children have good nutrition? And without good nutrition, they might fall sick easily. So when children fall sick easily, they cannot grow well. And when children don't grow well, they don't attend school regularly, and it would affect their studies and whatnot. The things can be
Domino effect.
domino effect. It affects so many things. Financial stability is also important because not only it affects the children, it affects the parents' mental health.
Yeah.
Because
Gonna get it later.
when there's financial stress,
Yes.
you would get really worked up. You can't think straight, and then it affects your work. It affects your mood, and affects work equals affect your finance issue further. Affects your mood, equates to you not being able to relate and socialize well with your family.
Yeah.
So yeah, finance is very important.
Finance is very important. Should a couple sort of like express their expectations towards the spouse? Like, for example, I want to, if a wife says, I want to give birth in a private hospital, I want my kids to go to private school, I want, a top tier education and services, should that be laid out before? you think?
Should, would, could, have to. I think it all again boils down to the couple.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, you can say what you want, but then we need to differentiate between need
And
and want.
Yeah.
So if there's no financial issue, yeah, the wife can say, I only want to deliver here at this private hospital, nothing less. And the couple can afford it, no issue. And my kids have to go to private or international school, and if they can afford it, why not? But they just have to be realistic that they can manage that, what they want, the demands.
The expenses
The expenses,
for that
yeah.
month.
There's so many couple nowadays that their spending is way beyond whatever they,
Is it to suit their lifestyle?
to suit the lifestyle and to suit the demands. Like people think the government school are not good enough, so they send their children to private school.
Yes.
And this can be very, very demanding on your pocket.
Yeah. But I think it's another domino effect where, let's say you have enough money to send them to private school, but the lifestyle that you bring them up with, for example, does not match their peers. That will also put peer pressure to the kids, right?
Yep. So again, we need to go
Yeah.
back to reality where you need to understand if you send your children to all this expensive school, they will be in a group where their peers are quite lavish in what they're
Yeah.
spending, and your children will end up wanting to be at par with the peer.
Yeah.
So they will demand all this whatever from you, and you should be able to meet the demands because you're the one who sent them there.
Yeah,
Kan?
correct.
So these are the things that couples need to identify and plan ahead.
Okay. Okay, sorry. I just want to backtrack a little bit, doctor. On the mental health, just now you mentioned mental health.
Uh-huh.
So I myself have gone through many days of breakdowns, and I just don't want to talk to my kids. I just don't want to talk to anybody. How can we strike a balance between mental health and making sure that our kids are well nurtured, are taken care of, and just for us to sort of be there for them? Because I feel like no matter how you feel, no matter how sick you are, you still have to show up and be
Still
good,
have to
present.
be a mom.
Yeah, I still have to be a mom. Your job doesn't you can't just clock out, right? So how do you strike a balance with that, like your mental health and caring for people
Need to try hard. Okay, number one, before we take care of others,
Yep.
we definitely have to take care of self. So yeah, I think everyone would have their fair days of ups and downs. So there are days when you're physically unwell and work is so demanding, you feel so tired, you don't have the energy. And you know, the minute you go home, the kid would be running to you, demanding your time, plus the guilt feeling that, oh, I need to go home. Make sure that I don't go home late, because you
Yeah.
don't want to burden the elderly grandparents.
Right.
But in the end, stick to being taking care of yourself, actually.
Okay.
So you know that if you go home, you would be irritable. Simple things, you terus jadi hijau lah basically. On your normal days, that simple thing, the simple mistake your child do would not really affect you that much. But when your mood is not okay, your mind are cluttered, you would really shout at your child. So that's not healthy, because end up the child would be confused. Oh, the other day this was okay, today it's not. So the child is confused. Secondly, you would later feel guilty and blame yourself.
That's right.
So we need to identify days when our emotions not stable, our thoughts are not okay. We need to take a time out.
Okay.
So sometimes I would tell my patients, maybe instead of going straight home and being non-functional, you're there but you're not there, you should just maybe go somewhere else. For me, contoh, I would maybe call a friend,
Okay.
hang out at Starbucks, just chill out a bit. Some parents say, oh, I cannot do that, I feel guilty. Okay, how about you drive home, but you don't go immediately into the house.
Take that 10-minute
In the car.
alone time in the car.
Close your eyes, do some deep breathing.
Yeah.
So,
And then
yeah.
before you enter. Okay.
Exactly.
That makes a big difference.
True.
Yep. Okay. Okay. So we talked about childcare. We talked about the economy, and that also relates back to family planning, right?
Betul?
Right. So, how important is family planning, Doctor?
Okay, if you go back again to our mothers and grandmothers punya time, there's no need for family planning.
Okay.
But I think that is not applicable today,
Okay.
because we know that if there's unwanted pregnancies, that would affect the mother's physical and mental health, because if the spacing between the children are too close, the mother wouldn't have time to recover physically. You need to recover physically, and the mother wouldn't have enough time to recover mentally,
Yep.
because
Yep.
looking after
Yep.
a child
Yep. It's
takes a lot of effort. So yeah, family planning is important. And when you family plan, you are able to space out your children when you have your children, so you have better quality time with the children.
okay.
And then when you do family planning, means you are prepared financially.
Right.
So that's when you're able to provide them with good nutrition or whatever that's
Okay.
necessary.
Because I think there are a lot of families, many, I guess I would say in the B40 category, that, like you have parents with like 7 children, and maybe their income does not sort of
Meet
meet
demand.
the demands of childcare. So how can maybe couples, or I don't want to like stereotype people in categories, but how can we further educate people and couples the importance of family planning? Because like you said, it's going to be a domino effect if your financial capabilities are not met, and you financial stress. So how, doctor? Because there's a lot of families that are going through that, right? Because like, for example, there's like maybe only the husband is working, and there are 6 kids, and then the wife is currently pregnant with another child coming on the way. How doctor?
Well, it's not a one-person effort lah. Basically, it's where we need to raise awareness through education. I think the public health sector are aware about this, and actually this is incorporated in one of the syllabus for the children in the secondary school. Okay. I think the other issues that this income group tend to have big families without them realizing that they can't afford it is maybe availability of medical resources.
Okay.
For family planning, say the pill, you would have to buy it.
Mhm.
So maybe they find that it's quite a burden to
Right.
the pocket. Other methods can be quite expensive if you go to private. So these people need to know that these services are available in the government sector actually.
Okay.
So yeah, I think raising awareness, making them aware the importance of family planning.
Okay.
So this goes to the public health sector actually.
Okay.
It's not a
Okay.
one-man job.
Right. Right. But you said like it's sorry, what services are available in the public health sector?
The clinic
Clinic
kesihatan,
kesehatan, yeah.
uh-huh.
So what kind of things are accessible for?
Everything actually. They
Yeah.
have services for even mental health services are available at clinic
Okay.
kesihatan, child clinic. Of course people usually go there when they are having cough and cold, but everything is provided there if you have diabetes and whatnot. Only that if the cases are complicated, it would be referred to the government hospitals to be
Right.
managed by the specialists at the hospital.
Okay. But like basic family planning
Oh,
can
it's
be
readily available.
readily
Yeah.
available. Okay. Okay. So there are doctors that are ready to.
Doctors and nurses
Okay.
to advise and what's the most appropriate, because maybe a person this age, what is suitable for them is not suitable for a lady who is 30 plus. So yeah.
I see. I see. Okay. 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 We're gonna finish soon, but not before a few questions.
Okay, can, sure.
Okay. So talking about like family planning again, it's again it's education on sex education basically, right? So right now there are baby dumping is a serious issue in Malaysia. Sinar Daily recently reported there are 46 newborns that were rescued by orphan care in 2022, and many mothers remain unaware of the consequences of premarital sex. So, doctor, like, how can we fix this? How can we address the awareness and prevention so that the numbers go down, at the very least the numbers go down, and we try to curb this issue?
Okay, you say fix. Fix would be a bit difficult.
Okay, not fix,
use
let's
the
say
word
like
manage.
Okay, manage.
Okay. And then mothers, I think we should address the couple.
Okay.
Because pregnancy doesn't happen by that one person
Yep.
suddenly getting
It's two-man
pregnant on
job.
their own. Exactly. So yeah, sex education is important. I know in the past it's something that our mothers try to avoid talking to us, and these teenagers end up getting to know about sex without knowing the unwanted side effects, the negative outcome of having sex, which are getting pregnant, unwanted pregnancies, as well as the sexually transmitted diseases. So sex education is important because
As early as how old?
actually as early adolescent, which is around 10.
10.
I mean, at early age, safe sex would be teaching children about safe touch, telling them that if someone touches you this way, it's not safe, that you should say no and tell mommy, something like that. But for the childbearing age group, which is at least 10 and above, they should be given sex education about
10
safe
and above.
sex.
Okay.
Like to make sure that they don't get the sexually transmitted diseases and definitely the unwanted pregnancies.
Okay.
So we talk about how to protect themselves and contraception.
Okay. How can parents sort of educate their kids on, like what you said, like I'm like 10 years old, you can start teaching them, right? So maybe you can share like any tips for parents who have kids as young as 10 years old and they want to be more careful. Yeah.
Actually, FYI, the school syllabus nowadays do incorporate that. I think as early as standard 3 or standard 4
Alright,
the
okay,
harder.
okay.
But then it's very quite brief and simple. And I think some teachers, they're quite happy teaching those to the children, to the pupils at school, some not. Because so when I compare homeworks with other parents and my friends, they would say, I don't think that was taught to my children, whereas another friend would say that it was.
Right.
So for me, as soon as I know that the children are already aware about that, that's when I get into more detail. And as parent, we should know our child's cognitive level, like how much they can understand what we tell them and whatnot. So, and then don't, I think some parents are so scared about the topic, it's such a taboo.
Yeah.
So they just do it once and that's it. But no, education is something, it's a learning thing that is continuous. So you say it once and then you go back. Like kalau kita nak example, we would need to do revision, right?
Yeah.
Because you tend to forget things and then there are new information. So it's something that you need to regularly monitor
Okay.
and share with your children.
Okay. So, in addition to that, maybe also monitor them.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Because when they're younger, we are like a mother. You cannot do this, you cannot do that. When they're a bit bigger, you become their friend.
Yeah.
So they share things with you rather than just share things with your friend.
Right.
So make sure that they're not afraid to share things with your mom. So I would like to share that I have a lot of young adults, teenagers who are patients at the clinic. And many would say, oh, mom doesn't have time for me, they're not at home.
Okay.
So
I think
scares me.
Yeah. I mean, that's sad though, doctor. Like, you on one hand you can't. For the mom, it's really hard, as we know.
They want to make sure there's food
Yeah, but
on the table.
I mean, like, I guess there's a. No, I don't want to say it's a price you pay for it, but it's like it's either there or here, right? You cannot be at two places at once. So as a parent, you can just do your, at least be really aware of your children's feelings and what they're going through.
That's
Right.
where we have to make sure that we don't just address their physical needs, makan, pakai, where they stay. So we need to be able to furnish their emotional need.
Yeah. I think the challenges of parenthood, it changes as they grow, obviously, right? So for you, having older kids and younger kids, the challenges are different?
Oh, for sure, definitely.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
how is it?
Again, young kids, you just have to make sure they have enough time to play. You pay them attention to their homework and whatnot. But for the bigger kids, it's not just, oh, have you done your homework? Have you eaten? I would, especially my girl, I would spend time like, how's things in school? So she talks about the friends. What's the word? Crush? Things like that.
Okay.
And you learn so many new terms like,
Yeah,
Apa tu?
yeah. All the new generation, the slangs, right? Okay.
so I would hope that, I think, so far, my daughter is able to share with me her issues, her challenges faced in school, and not just her issues about academic. She would come and say, oh, this friend was like this. That guy come and ask me to take photos with him, blah, blah, blah. So, okay.
Okay. Because like I think just because they're older doesn't mean they don't need your attention and.
Yeah,
like,
we cannot just say, oh, you're big enough, go do things yourself.
I see a lot of parents do that. I think it's like, oh, they're big already.
You
They
should
can just
know how
manage.
to
They should know how to do it. Yeah.
manage soft things themselves. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, in the end, for you, like yourself, you have two kids. People can say, Sharia, dah ada dua anak kot. You should be able to manage. But I'm sure you still find yourself needing guidance.
Yes.
So yeah,
That's right. That's good.
so always check on them. They say what? Never trust them, in a sense that, yeah, you
Always have that doubt, I think.
yeah,
Okay.
so that you double check.
Okay, Doctor, we're gonna wrap up soon, but
Oh,
maybe you wanna have some words or words of encouragement for parents today who face challenges, more challenges that we've talked about today. What can we say? What can you say?
The striking the balance
Okay.
between work and personal life is not easy. Sorry if not to check up not important. It's not easy.
Okay.
Really not easy. But really have to work together as a couple. Number one, know your priorities. please take care of your health, especially your mental health, because we know that physical and mental health they affect each other.
Yeah.
So if you're physically healthy, then you're stronger to face mental challenges.
Yeah. Okay.
So make sure you have enough food, enough rest, enough physical activity.
Okay.
And for your mental health, you really, really need to manage your stress well.
Okay.
Time out.
Okay, that's good. But doctor, I think one thing I forgot to ask you is the importance of communication between the spouses
Definitely.
in order to face the challenges of parenthood well. So, any tips?
Communication.
Yes, communication.
You
Why? Because
cannot expect, dia ni patut tahulah. So
don't assume.
don't assume.
Okay.
Say, like I mentioned, I have 4 boys, so there are things that I would expect the father should know that it's a boy thing, and he should be addressing it.
Yeah.
Then tak jadi, you pun upset kan. So rather than you expect something, it doesn't happen, you discuss
Okay. Yeah.
and tell him, I think this is this. Because sometimes dia pun terlepas pandang, he's also busy at work,
Yeah.
and he's not aware.
Right. Right. But I think also, especially, sorry, last one, especially if both of them, both the parent, mom and dad, are working, traditional sort of roles of like where society still expects the mom to do everything, every house chore at home. I think that should be discussed with the
Agreed.
spouse, because
Communicated.
both of you live there. They are both the kids are your children. You're not helping one or the other. You are fulfilling your responsibility, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So house chores should be shared. Like you say, the traditional roles. The wife should cook. The wife should this and that. I don't like cooking, so my husband is aware of that.
'Kay.
So yeah, we need to find ways to ease things. So if for me, I find cooking stressful, so I actually apa orang kata order.
Grab.
Grab, or memang regularly there's a cook who
All right.
cook regularly
Okay.
for the family.
I see. Okay.
So I don't
okay.
have to worry.
Yeah,
Then you
yeah.
come back tired and you have to cook whatnot.
Yeah, you do what works for you.
Exactly. Do what works for you, for your family, and then tailor made to your financial abilities.
Okay.
What you can.
All right. Okay. Thank you, doctor. I would like to go on and on, but unfortunately, we've come to the end of the podcast.
Okay, can I just say one last thing?
Can.
If you think you have mental health issues, do not keep it to yourself.
Right.
Find support and seek help.
Okay, it's not wrong to seek help.
No, because sometimes patients that come to the clinic, they don't know where to get help, or they are afraid to get help because of the mental health stigma thing.
I see.
So
What makes them afraid though, doctor? Like society's judgment?
people will judge, oh, pergi klinik psychiatry, or some people, they are afraid of people say, oh, kena makan ubat, bergantung ubat, and then medication would affect the kidneys, the liver, whatnot. I think these are like hearsay that's not healthy.
Right. Okay. That's good to take note of that. Okay, so that's the end of our podcast today. I hope that this has been, beneficial for parents or parents to be. I certainly took notes of myself, but thank you so much for tuning in to the Life and Style podcast, and I'll see you next time.